What if your shadow is not random? What if you're repeating emotional pattern, relationship wound, career pressure, spiritual hunger, intensity, loneliness, attraction to crisis, fear of failure, and obsession with meaning are not personality confusion, but a map? Today, I want to take you into an actual sidereal hologenetic gene keys case study. Tracy. This is not ordinary astrology. This is not vague personality typing. This is not your sun sign says this. This is consciousness mapping. Here, I use planetary placement as the diagnostic engine. The planet shows the function. The sign shows the style. The house shows the life area. The nakshatra shows the mythic instinct. The gene key shows the consciousness spectrum, shadow, gift, and siddhi. When these layers come together, you stop guessing. You begin to see the exact pressure point where the soul is being refined. Tracy's map begins with Sun in Sagittarius, 8th house, Uttara Ashada Nakshatra, Gene Key 60, Limitation, Realism, Justice. The Sun is life force, dharma, identity, and visible purpose. But in the 8th house, the life force is not designed to remain superficial. The 8th house pulls consciousness into transformation, hidden knowledge, crisis, traumas, occult study, vulnerability, inheritance, and rebirth. So I do not say Tracy is simply intense. I say her life force is built for depth. Sagittarius adds meaning, truth, philosophy, ethics, law, and higher knowledge. It asks, what is the wisdom behind this crisis? What is the law behind this suffering? Uttara Ashada adds endurance, long battles, moral victory, principle, and dharmic success after pressure. Now add Gene Key 60. At shadow frequency, limitation may feel like restriction, delay, control, invisible walls, or karmic pressure. Tracy may feel life has asked too much from her. But the gift is realism, the ability to read reality accurately, respect timing, understand structure, and stop fighting what must first be understood. The Siddhi is justice, not revenge, but alignment with the deeper order of life. Her life's work says, turn limitation into realism and realism into justice. This is why sidereal hologenetic mapping is direct. Sun alone says 8th house. Sagittarius says meaning. Uttara Ashada says victory through endurance. Gene Key 60 says limitation becomes justice. Together, the diagnosis is precise. Tracy is here to turn crisis into wisdom and hidden pressure into conscious authority. Her earth point, the evolution key, is Gemini, Punarvasu Nakshatra, Gene Key 56, distraction, enrichment, intoxication. If the sun pulls her into depth, Earth asks her to translate that depth into meaningful language. Gemini brings speech, thought, curiosity, story, movement, connection. Punarvasu brings return, repetition, restoration, and the rebuilding of light after wandering. At shadow frequency, Gene Key 56 becomes distraction. Scattered speech, endless explanation, mental stimulation, story after story, sometimes to avoid feeling the deeper truth. But the gift is enrichment. Storytelling as medicine, language as wisdom, communication as transmission. So Tracy's evolutionary challenge is clear. Do not drown in the hidden world. Bring back the message. Her depth must become language. Her crisis must become teaching. Her distraction must become enrichment. Now her emotional body, Moon in Virgo, 5th house, Chitra Nakshatra, Gene Key 32, failure, preservation, veneration. The moon shows memory, instinct, emotional need, and inner child. The 5th house shows intelligence, creativity, children, romance, counsel, talent, past life merit, and heart expression. Virgo brings refinement, service, analysis, correction, and sometimes worry. Chitra brings design, beauty, precision, visual intelligence, craftsmanship, and perfectionism. Gene Key 32 begins with the shadow of failure. Emotionally, Tracy may fear that something valuable will not last. Love, talent, children, creative work, recognition, emotional investment, legacy. But the gift is preservation. She knows what must be protected, what has long-term value, what talent must be developed, what memory must be honored. In the 5th house, this becomes creative intelligence. The teaching is, do not let fear of failure make you abandon what is sacred. Preserve the gift until it matures. Now the mind and speech, Mercury in Sagittarius, 8th house, Purva Ashada Nakshatra, Gene Key 38, struggle, perseverance, honor. Mercury shows speech, intelligence, learning, analysis, interpretation, writing. In the 8th house, Mercury becomes investigative. It studies hidden motives, psychology, trauma, taboo subjects, occult knowledge, secrets, transformation, and deeper systems. Sagittarius makes Mercury philosophical and truth-seeking. Purva Ashada adds persuasion, debate, forceful speech, emotional conviction, and the desire for victory. Gene key 38 is a warrior key. At shadow frequency, struggle may appear as argument, defensiveness, ideological battle, or feeling misunderstood. But the gift is perseverance, the ability to stay with difficult questions until truth appears. The Siddhi is honor, speech aligned with principle. This Mercury is not for shallow conversation. Tracy's mind is built to fight for meaning. Her communication must become honorable truth, not reactive battle. Now love and values. Venus in Capricorn, 9th house, Shravana Nakshatra, Gene key 13, discord, discernment, empathy. Venus shows love, attraction, values, beauty, pleasure, relationship taste, and emotional intelligence. The 9th house shows dharma, wisdom, teachers, philosophy, pilgrimage, higher learning, faith, and moral compass. Capricorn makes Venus serious, mature, loyal, disciplined, and value conscious. Shravana is the nakshatra of listening, sacred sound, learning, and transmission. Gene key 13 is the listening key. At shadow frequency, discord may make Tracy absorb too many stories, too much pain, too much emotional noise. She may become the listener for everyone while forgetting boundaries. But the gift is discernment, knowing which story is true, which pain is real, which projection is not hers. The Siddhi is empathy, awakened listening without emotional burden. Her love nature says, love does not mean absorbing all noise. Love means listening with wisdom. Now Mars in Capricorn, 9th house, Dhanishta Nakshatra, Gene key 49, reaction, revolution, rebirth. Mars shows desire, courage, sexuality, conflict, protection, action, and assertion. In Capricorn, Mars becomes strategic, disciplined, enduring, and capable of building. In the 9th house, Mars fights for truth, dharma, belief, justice, education, and higher principle. Dhanishta adds rhythm, vows, timing, sound, group achievement, and commitment. Gene key 49 is intense. At shadow frequency, reaction can show quick rejection when values are violated. Betrayal, hypocrisy, injustice, emotional dishonesty. But the gift is revolution, not chaos, but principled reform. The Siddhi is rebirth. Mars says, your anger must become sacred reform. Your reaction must become clean action. Your desire must serve rebirth. Because Venus and Mars are both in Capricorn in the 9th house, Tracy's love and desire are dharmic. Relationship must include respect, maturity, truth, shared values, and growth. If a bond has no higher purpose, her body may not trust it. If the connection violates values, Mars reacts. If it carries wisdom, Venus listens. Now prosperity and embodiment. Jupiter in Taurus, 1st house, Mrigashira Nakshatra, Gene key 15, dullness, magnetism, fluorescence. Jupiter shows wisdom, expansion, teaching, grace, ethics, prosperity. The 1st house shows body, identity, presence, vitality, personality, and self-direction. Taurus brings stability, beauty, voice, value, sensual grounding, and material embodiment. Mrigashira adds searching, curiosity, subtlety, artistry, fragrance, and discovery. Gene key 15 is Tracy's Pearl Prosperity Key. At shadow frequency, dullness may show comfort, inertia, underuse of wisdom, or staying too safe. But the gift is magnetism. Prosperity comes not by force, but through embodied presence. Her energy includes others. Her body communicates stability. Her wisdom becomes attractive when it is lived, not merely understood. The prosperity teaching is simple. Do not only understand wisdom, become it. Now Saturn in Aquarius, 10th house, Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra, Gene key 22, dishonor, graciousness, grace. This is one of the strongest placements in Tracy's map. Saturn shows karma, discipline, time, responsibility, structure, maturity, fear, and authority. The 10th house shows career, public life, reputation, status, karma in the world, and visible contribution. Aquarius adds systems, society, reform, networks, collective intelligence, and future structures. Purva Bhadrapada adds intensity, spiritual fire, austerity, and deep idealism. Gene key 22 is emotional refinement. At shadow frequency, dishonor may appear as disrespect, social roughness, emotional humiliation, public pressure, or dignity being tested. But the gift is graciousness, composure under pressure, refined emotional tone, dignity in public life. The Siddhi is grace. Saturn in the 10th says authority must be earned slowly. Gene key 22 says authority becomes real only when emotional tone becomes graceful. This lesson repeats in her design chart, where design Saturn also carries Gene key 22. That means grace is not optional in this map. It is structural medicine. Now the karmic axis. Rahu in Taurus, 1st house, Kritika Nakshatra, Gene key 16. Indifference, versatility, mastery. Rahu shows hunger, obsession, future growth, karmic amplification. In the first house, Rahu pushes self-definition, visibility, embodiment, and personal identity. Taurus wants skill, voice, value, stability, beauty, resources. Kritika cuts, sharpens, refines, purifies. Gene Key 16 is the path of skill. At shadow frequency, indifference may appear as scattered talent or not caring enough to practice. The gift is versatility. The Siddhi is mastery. Rahu says, do not disappear into others. Become skilled. Become refined. Become yourself. Opposite this is Ketu in Scorpio, 7th house, Anuradha Nakshatra, Gene Key 9 inertia, determination, invincibility. Ketu shows past life memory, detachment, inherited mastery, karmic residue. In the 7th house, it shows old relationship karma, partnership, intimacy, contracts, sexuality, loyalty, and emotional bonds. Scorpio and Anuradha deepen it through secrecy, devotion, betrayal themes, intensity, loyalty, and karmic friendship. Gene Key 9 moves from inertia to determination to invincibility. The axis is clear. The past pulls Tracy into old partnership gravity, hidden loyalty patterns, and emotional entanglement. The future asks for self-development, personal mastery, body-based identity, and refined skill. The prescription is direct. Do not lose yourself in relational gravity. Build your own mastery. Now Uranus in Leo, 4th house, Purva Falguni Nakshatra, Gene Key 6, conflict, diplomacy, peace. Uranus is the higher mind. It disrupts dead patterns, awakens future intelligence, breaks false identity, and refuses lifeless conditioning. In the 4th house, Uranus affects home, mother, emotional roots, family conditioning, inner security, property, and private life. Leo adds heart, self-expression, creativity, pride, and visibility. Purva Falguni adds pleasure, relationship, creativity, comfort, performance, and social magnetism. Gene Key 6 moves from conflict to diplomacy to peace. At shadow frequency, this may show emotional restlessness, conflict in the private life, family disruption, or difficulty feeling settled. But at gift frequency, Uranus becomes diplomacy. Tracy learns to hold difference without war, build peace without self-betrayal, and create inner security on her own terms. The higher mind teaching is, conflict is not the final form. Peace is. Now the design prenatal map reveals the hidden architecture. Her design sun in Libra, Chitra Nakshatra, Gene Key 50. Corruption, equilibrium, harmony becomes radiance. Her vitality improves when life is ethical, balanced, beautiful, clean, ordered, and harmonious. Corrupt environments, unclear agreements, unfair relationships, and messy energetic fields drain her. Equilibrium restores her body. Her design Earth in Aries, Ashwini Nakshatra, Gene Key 3. Chaos, innovation, innocence becomes purpose. Her embodied purpose is not to avoid chaos, but to innovate through chaos. Aries begins. Ashwini heals and initiates. Gene Key 3 mutates disorder into new life. Her purpose says, when life becomes messy, look for the new pattern trying to be born. Her design Venus and design Mars in Scorpio, Anuradha, 12th house, both carrying Gene Key 5, impatience, patience, timelessness, reveal a deep heart and vocation wound around timing. The 12th house is hidden life, isolation, loss, sleep, subconscious material, meditation, surrender, and liberation. Scorpio brings emotional depth. Anuradha brings loyalty, devotion, and hidden bonds. At shadow frequency, impatience may arise around love, trust, safety, vocation, intimacy, and closure. Why is this taking so long? Why must I wait? Why is love hidden, delayed, or karmic? But the gift is patience, not passive waiting, sacred timing. The Siddhi is timelessness. This is one of Tracy's deepest medicines. Stop confusing delay with denial. Stop forcing the soul to bloom before its season. This is why the Sidereal Hologenetic Gene Keys map is so powerful for self-reflective work. It does not flatter the personality. It reveals the pressure behind the behavior. Why does someone react? Mars shows it. Why does someone wait painfully? Design Venus and Mars show it. Why does someone attract certain relationship karma? Moon, Venus, Mars, Ketu, 7th house, and design spheres show it. Why does someone feel called to crisis work? Sun and Mercury in the 8th show it. Why does someone need public grace? Saturn and Gene Key 22 show it. This is not random interpretation. This is layered diagnosis. Tracy's central map is clear. Sun says, turn limitation into realism and justice. Earth says, turn distraction into enrichment. Moon says, turn failure into preservation. Mercury says, turn struggle into honor. Venus says, turn discord into empathy through discernment. Mars says, turn reaction into revolution and rebirth. Jupiter says, turn dullness into magnetism. Saturn says, turn dishonor into grace. Rahu says, turn indifference into mastery. Ketu says, turn inertia into determination. Uranus says, turn conflict into peace. Design Heart says, turn impatience into patience. Purpose says, turn chaos into innovation. A map like this does not say Tracy must become perfect. It says she must become conscious. The shadow is not the enemy, it is the doorway. Limitation opens realism. Distraction opens enrichment. Failure opens preservation. Struggle opens honor. Reaction opens revolution. Dishonor opens grace. Impatience opens timelessness. That is the value of Sidereal Hologenetic Gene Keys mapping. It gives you a living mirror, not a label, not a prediction, not a box. You see where your consciousness contracts. You see where your gift waits. You see how each planet carries a key. You see which house activates the lesson. You see which nakshatra shapes the instinct. You see the exact field of life where the work must be done. Then self-reflection becomes practical. You stop asking, what is wrong with me? You start asking, which shadow am I living unconsciously? Which gift is trying to emerge through this pressure? For Tracy, the map says, when life limits you, become realistic, not defeated. When the mind scatters, enrich others with wisdom, do not escape into noise. When you fear failure, preserve what is sacred. Do not abandon your creative intelligence. When relationship brings discord, listen with discernment. Do not absorb everything. When anger rises, let it become principled reform, not emotional rejection. When public life tests dignity, become gracious, not hardened. When love makes you impatient, trust timing. Do not force the soul open early. When old partnership karma pulls you back, return to self-mastery. This is how the map becomes medicine. And this is why this work matters for seekers, conscious men and women, healers, coaches, astrologers, spiritual students, and anyone doing real inner work. You do not need more vague advice. You need a precise mirror. You need to know where your consciousness contracts, what gift is waiting, which life area activates your wound, and why certain patterns keep repeating. A Sidereal Hologenetic Gene Keys map gives that. It combines the karmic accuracy of Vedic placement with the contemplative depth of the gene key spectrum. It uses planet as function, house as life field, sign as behavioral style, nakshatra as instinctive myth, and gene key as the consciousness ladder. That is why this method is direct. It does not only describe you, it shows you where to work. And when you know where to work, your life becomes less confusing. Your shadow becomes readable. Your relationships become more understandable. Your career pressure becomes meaningful. Your emotional reactions become teachers. Your spiritual hunger becomes a path. If Tracy's case speaks to something in you, the limitation, emotional depth, impatience, relationship karma, hidden intelligence, or need to turn pain into wisdom, do not ignore that recognition. That recognition is the beginning of contemplation. Your map is not there to trap you. Your map is there to free you through awareness. If you want a deep Sidereal Hologenetic Gene Keys map reading, one that works for you, one that uses your actual planetary placements as the diagnostic engine, one that shows your shadow, gift, Siddhi, relationship patterns, prosperity pathway, emotional wounds, career dharma, and deeper consciousness design, get in touch with me. Because once you see your map clearly, you stop fighting your life blindly. You begin working with it consciously.